All right. Well, if you are watching us on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you may be viewing us, welcome to WaterCooler Wednesday. If you are tuning in to the replay, welcome as well. And you can definitely interact with us. We are live on LinkedIn. I was distracted to make sure that we actually were. You can continue to connect with us. Even if you're watching the replay, we'll continue to monitor the chats over the next couple weeks. Um, I am so excited to be here with Portia Barnes. But first, let me say I'm excited to be here with all of you. If you are live, comment, just say hey, so we know that those are working, that you're here. And this is designed to be a conversation between two to many people. So definitely join in. Now, let me tell you about Portia Barnes. So, all right, Portia has described me as her unofficial, official mentor, and I blush every time she says that, and I think it's so nice. And I told her if any percentage of that is actually true, I take full credit for everything that she's done. Obviously, I can't, but deal. Um, but in reality, Portia is a mentor of mine because I've never seen somebody that has been so driven and a lot of times I find people with drive and direction and this motivation to move forward, but she's also equal parts strategic. And that's that combination that I don't always see. And we're going to get into that. But let me tell you a little bit about Portia. So, Portia is a strategist, community leader, and the founder of the Workplace Reset Consulting Group. Portia is an MSIOP, so has her master's in IO psychology. She serves on the board of directors for MAIOP. Now there are going to be so many initials. She's not even in government, but so many
Right.
acronyms. Um, the Michigan Association of Industrial Organizational Psychology, and is on the planning committee for the Blacks in IO Psychology BIOPS 2026 virtual conference. She is a two-time published author in SIOP's TIP or TIP, their magazine. Portia is also a featured speaker at the upcoming SIOP 2026 conference in New Orleans, where it's going to be amazing because a conference in New Orleans, you can't beat that, where she'll be collaborating on two panels: Choose Your Own Adventure, Choose Your Adventure, and Problem Solving Across Industries. She also writes the popular LinkedIn newsletter, The Workplace Reset. Now, all of this is an amazing CV. What makes this CV even more amazing is that I met Portia less than a year ago when she was a master's student yet to graduate, trying to figure out how to break into the IO world and start her IO consultancy. She has done all of this in less than a year, which is absolutely amazing, and what I really felt we needed to bring her in for, because I think that that's exactly what so many people can benefit from hearing about, whether you are a budding thought leader yourself, somebody that's new in their industry, any of my grad students or recent alums who are looking to break into the IO psychology world and won't take my advice. Please take Portia's today. There's so many people that I think can benefit from this conversation, but welcome, Portia.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I have been excited all week to be here. Well, now it's official. I'm removing the unofficial from your title. But yes, you have definitely been a game changer in my life. So I was very humbled and excited to be here with you today.
Cool. Well, likewise. So, all right. But I'm going to put you through some pain first because we've got to do the 6 and 60 before we get into all of this. So Portia, I gave her a quick rundown, and I'm going to ask you six rapid fire questions in 60 seconds.
Okay.
Um, but for those of you who have not seen the water cooler before, this is the opening portion where There's 6 questions. Portia gets a total of 60 seconds to answer all of the 6 questions. And if she doesn't get her answers for all 6 in time, then the interview just ends there. No,
Oh,
I'm kidding about that part. I'm kidding about that part. I tend to be pretty lenient. But all right, let's kick this off. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Yep.
Give us the best career advice that you have ever received in 5 words or less.
Keep it simple, stupid.
What's one trait every leader should have?
Empathy.
Love it. You went from property management to IO psychology. What is the most surprising skill what that was transferable, that transferred between the two?
Hmm. I would say um, fortitude,
Mm.
having
What's
fortitude or drive.
we're
Yes.
gonna we're gonna dive more into that one for sure. What's
Mhm.
one book, podcast, or other resource that significantly influenced your thinking recently?
That's easy. IO Coffee House with Juliet. That
It's
also
Juliet
changed.
Aiken.
Yes,
Nice.
Juliet. Again. Yes.
Um, Outside of work, what is one thing you're most passionate about? Oh,
My
and you
kids.
failed, by the way. Time's
Oh
up.
my gosh.
But let's keep it going. Outside of work,
You
what is one
know, Family
thing?
Feud, they give you like 2 seconds if you're already answering, okay?
Right. So it could be me. I ask long questions. But outside of work, what is one thing you're most passionate about?
My kids, my husband, my family.
Good answer.
Yes.
And finally, finish this sentence. The future of work is.
Inclusive.
Mm, love it.
Yes.
Okay. So, all right, great job. Well, mediocre job.
Well, this
Well, on the
time.
timing, mediocre, but like on the answers, the depth of the answers, that I think that was absolutely great.
Okay.
It's so funny because in a prior to jumping on, we realized that Juliet Aiken is a connecting IO,
Mhm.
thought leader for us, and
Yes.
mentor for us. So that's pretty cool.
Yes.
The IO psychology world is a small one. So,
Mhm.
okay, I want to start with your origin story because,
Okay.
first of all, I'm a big superhero movie nerd,
Mhm.
and like I love all those. But I really am a nerd for like the first movie with each superhero, because seeing how they develop their powers and how they came to this, I think is just so fascinating. So, how do you develop your powers? What brought you to IO psychology?
So, like you said, I was in property management, real estate for almost 15 years, and in middle management. So I had staff, employees, vendors report to me directly for many years, and I began, well, for maybe the last 4 or 5 years, I realized that I was losing quality employees, and the reason just became more and more frequent. It's not you, Portia. It's the culture. It's, above you. It's decisions being made above you. Um, they don't care about me. I've heard that so many times. I'm just another cog. Um, and ultimately, it boils down to not investing in the culture of an organization, not understanding employee motivation, all of those things. At the time, I didn't have the language for that. I was very, very blunt. Like, you need to start caring about these people, you know. But I felt like I wasn't being heard in the ways that I needed to, and I needed to make sure that I had all the tools that I needed to get into the rooms necessary to begin advocating for change and just systematic change, right? Because culture starts at the top. So I started researching and I'm like, maybe I need to get another degree. Maybe I just need better language to advocate for myself, for the staff, and everything. And I did research probably for about 6 months or so 4 to 6 months, and found the IO psychology program at North Central University. And I promise you, as soon as I read that full curriculum, I was like, this is it. Like, I found it. And registered with, talked to my husband about it. And I'm like, hey, I kind of want to do a thing. It's going to last, it's not long, but just a couple years. It's going to last a couple years. And, but I think I think it's the next step for me. I think it's what I need to do. And, he was very supportive of me. I enrolled. And David, my very first class, I was in love.
Yeah.
I was absolutely in love. My professor was amazing. That was her gift, being the intro into IO psychology. Like, she's perfect for it. And that was it. I was like, here I am. I'm yours. And went through the program, found the language, and my goal was to go back into the industry, and not just this one, and just really be able to truly help change the workplace culture and the status quo of how we treat employees, of how we are engaged, of the disconnect that I see so often between upper management, corporate level, ownership, whatever the hierarchy is, and try to bridge that gap. And
Yeah.
so that's my humble beginning. That's what led me down that path. And I am forever grateful that I betted on myself and had a supportive husband to encourage me to do this, because I am home. This is where I should be.
Yeah.
And I love it.
That's great, and it takes so much bravery and commitment from you and your husband. You've got two kids, you've got a good job, and then having to make that hard choice that you're going to pivot. Now, what's fascinating about you to me is that I hear these stories a lot. When with our master's program at Maryland, when we're interviewing people, so often I hear things like their why is because of the poor leadership that they've worked under, or they want to learn the tools, the language, or they want to figure out how to create more inclusivity and things like that, right? So the same sort of things that are driving them toward it. But
Mhm.
on the other side, for so many people that that go through this career change within IO or anything else,
Yeah.
it's like they gather this new skill set, and you could have gone back to property management and real estate, and said, all right, now I've got the new tools, I've got the new language, I'm going to start implementing this stuff. You also could have gone and said, all right, I'm gonna join a IO firm, or get a job as an internal IO OD, something like that. Put your head down and
Mhm.
just sort of like did the work. You've been a wrecking ball. You have gone in and been like, I'm just going to make this my own. I'm
Yeah.
going to I'm going to just create a space for me within this space as an
Mhm.
outsider coming in, like, make room. And you've done it with so much poise and expertise, and just been able to get yourself in there. Where does that bravery come from, and what's the rationale? Like, most people don't do it that way for some reason. What's your secret sauce?
So, really, David, my secret weapon is I don't really hear no when I'm told no. you know, I laughed because I actually heard my aunt tell me this years ago when I was young. I mean, I'm still young. I'm still young. Um, but I heard my aunt tell me, my dad had said something to me. This is clearly childhood. And he said, no. And I was like, yeah, I don't understand. And it's like, well, I said no. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't, And she's like, girl, you just refuse to take a no, right? And I think that's just something that's in me. If I'm very passionate about it, if I really believe it with my heart, that this is the right thing. I'm really not one that's just gonna stand by and I'm not a put my head down type of girl. I'm not. I tried it, I failed at it horribly. And then I said, okay, that's not me. So let me just be authentically who I am. And if I'm in it, I'm in it. If I'm not, I'm not. I'm not really a wavering type. That's not my personality.
Yes.
And I'm in it. I'm in this. I'm in this industry. I do believe that I have something that I can contribute. And I believe it's for the benefit, not just of myself, but of organizations and leadership and those that are going to come behind me. I do have a couple of mentees that I invest my time in, young ladies, and I'm always trying to have them learn from my mistake, learn from my lessons, but tell them the failures and the successes and say, hey, I want you to, carve your own lane and be better than me. So if I can create spaces where it can be better for somebody after me, then I'm here for it.
Oh, I love that framing.
Yeah.
My father was a attorney for most of his career, and
Mhm.
he was generally, I was just telling you this about me. I'm generally very high on agreeableness, and
Mhm.
surround myself with people that are way too principled and low in agreeableness because they will stand up for what's right no matter what. But I definitely get the higher agreeableness from my father, and uh, but what was always so interesting to me was that he was so high in agreeableness and no conflict and just go with the flow until he went to his day job and got up in court and advocated for his clients, and he would go to war. And I
Mm.
asked him, like, what is the difference here? And he would explain to me that, yeah, if it's for me, I'm like, oh, I don't want to intrude, oh, I don't want to bother,
Mhm.
oh, don't worry about me. But as soon as he was fighting for somebody else,
Yeah.
fighting for somebody who needed it more than him, then it
Mhm.
wasn't about him and his own ego anymore. Now it was about doing good for other people and representing them, and then he could really put himself out there and fight. And it sounds like the way you're framing this, you do think about the impact that that you can have for other people, and not
Absolutely.
thinking about yourself. So am I
Yeah.
wrong to assume that from the outside looking in, many people may assume that you're just missing that gene where you would have like imposter syndrome. People are like, "Oh no, I have imposter syndrome. That's not clearly you don't." But is that a good read, or is it more the former? Like you know that you are doing good work for other people.
Mhm. It is both. It is both, if I'm being honest. I was going to say, when you were talking about your dad advocating, I did this uh, this post that I wrote on LinkedIn a few months ago, and it says, I did shout out to IL psychologists. We're the superheroes of the workplace. And that's what I was thinking about it as you were talking, because I do believe that we throw on our capes when we need to, right? And that's kind of how I view what I'm doing now and what I'm trying to do. Um, and it is so much easier to put your own self doubts and things like that kind of on the back burner when you know it's going to help somebody else. Um, Growing up, my mom, it was my last year in college, and um, it was a lot going on. And I called my mom and I was like, Mom, this is super duper hard, and I don't know if I'm going to make it. And, all the things you let down your guard with your mom, and you're, like, woe is me, and hold me, mommy, all that stuff. And she listened, and she's so empathetic, and she's like, yes, I get it, babe. Okay. And I said, what am I going to do? And she said, well, do it hard. Okay, what else you got? And then she just moved on like it was nothing, and that was it. And I sat in that, reflected on it for a while, and to this day, that was at least 15 years ago. And to this day, that's what I think about. So, imposter syndrome will come. There's no way I would be able to be honest if I didn't say going into a brand new industry, feeling, like the only thing I have is this degree, But in reality, that's not true. I had very real life experience and data that I can pull from um, to combine with my degree. But there were definitely moments, and I was able to thankfully reach out to people that I knew, resources that I knew. Um, you actually gave me this advice at SIOP last year, and you told me to create my board of directors. And I said, well, what the heck is that? Like, I don't have an organization. What is that? And you're like, you need a crew, a community that you can lean on, that you can aspire, that you can motivate with, that you can talk to, and you can share these things with. And you need that core group in this industry. And after I put the pieces of my brain back together, because you exploded my brain in that moment, I went forward and I created my board of directors. And so when I have these moments where I'm like, I don't know if they'll listen to me if I write this article. I don't know if do I want to do this podcast? You know, those questions are going to come. Those thoughts are going to come. Um, and my advice, honestly, is just process them. Okay, don't act like they don't exist. Process them, and then do it hard. Do it scared. Do it unsure. Just, in the words of Nike, just do it. Like, just push through, because you score 0 points if you don't ever take the shot, right?
Yeah, I love that. I love that idea of do it hard, first of all. I think that
Mhm,
that's something that could be on your mirror in your bedroom or bathroom when you
mhm.
wake up in the morning. I absolutely love that. That it doesn't have to be um if something isn't easy, that doesn't mean it's the wrong path.
Right.
It's probably a good indicator it's the right path.
Yeah.
But the board of directors thing, I love. I don't remember saying it, but we were also like it was way past my bedtime
You
when we
did tell
sat
me
down and
that
had
too.
that conversation. Right? We had just come from the BIOP party at SIOP, and I'm sitting there, and I may have had a drink, and
Yeah,
I'm
when I
there.
was just picking your
I'm
brain.
like, we are way too like what I'm hearing all these younger people are here, and then I see all these people that are really much older than me, like
Mhm.
Ken Yusko, walk in, and they're like, I'm like, I guess I can be here. It pretty and so I don't remember everything I said, but I love the board of directors idea. I really love that. Now we've got a couple things coming in. I don't know why they're not coming through the app. I'll troubleshoot that another time. But we've got a couple comments that have come in. Um, Taylor said, "Good leaders are transparent, and you're clearly a leader."
Mhm. Thank
RIP IO Coffee House.
you. No.
Um, and Samantha said, "I remember that feeling in my own program, just feeling like I was meant to be there."
Mhm.
That's a really powerful feeling when you feel like these are my people, this is my place. And I want to follow up on that too, because
Okay.
we had a prior conversation where you talked about finding your people, and that's within the broader PSYOP community. But I want to talk about more narrowly,
Mhm.
really finding sort of your people and feeling like you found your spot. um, Samantha said, "Teach me your ways." Um, Erica says, "Yes, she is amazing. She's an incredible inspiration. Um, we need more empathetic leaders. Love your passion. Getting a ton of love in the app." Um,
Oh, thank
okay,
you.
so all right. We just mentioned BIOP, and you said before you went to PSYOP, you didn't even know that BIOP was a thing, right?
I did not.
And
Yeah.
so so tell me about that experience, walking into that BIOP party at PSYOP.
Mhm.
And if you could start a little bit, and I don't want to spoon feed you this stuff, but you already told me this stuff, and I
I
really love it.
did.
But like,
Yeah.
the ideas of you spoke about uh, your perspective of never really finding people that look like you necessarily
Mhm.
within industry in the past, and then walking into BIOP. So that's all I'm setting it up. This is your
Okay.
story.
All right. No problem. So, um, yes. So my very first PSYOP conference was in Denver last year. And I was, I hadn't even graduated yet. And so my only interaction with people in the industry was through school. And so SIOP, I've done conferences before, in my industry. So the conference itself wasn't overwhelming, but just being with so many like-minded people, the different topics, the different subcategories and everything like that, the experience is very overwhelming
Yeah.
for your very first time. So I was absorbing all of it. I was taking it in, and I'm used to being, a couple of sprinkles in meaning I only see a few of people that look like me in large arenas like that. Enough where you can point them out. Hey, girl, so like that. And so that didn't surprise me. I've been in leadership for almost 2 decades, and that's always the case for me. But walking into BIOP's party, they did a social event in the evening after our conference night. I was just so blown away in the most positive of ways, seeing so many people of just to be clear, BIOP is not just Black people. It's not. It's different. It's you see all the shades. You see all the shades. We have allies. It's not just but it is a place, a safety place, right, where I can feel. I had psychological safety in the sense walking in there, and it's like, oh, I can kind of relax a little bit. I can unwind a little bit and still equally as brilliant, you know. But just having that space, it's important. It's important, let's just be honest. It's important when you can go into these different environments and feel like you're not the only you don't have your whole heritage on your back.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's important to be able to find people that are like minded like you, and you can that can share and understand certain experiences that you've had that other cultures may not. um, and so that's what BIOP did that evening. And everybody was very warm and welcoming. And it was like, hey, girl, come hang with me. And I got introduced with so many people. I knew no one. I went by myself. I didn't come with my school or anything. I knew absolutely no one. And I talked to so many people that night. I got, LinkedIn information and phone numbers. And I was able to start building my community during this conference, and I will always be grateful to SIOP for that. But that was a life-changing moment for me as well. And I said, oh, I have to be a part of this. Absolutely. I did not have a choice. And so when they start promoting for this year's conference, it's like, I will do whatever. I'm down. Let's do it. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready. And they are just really amazing. Everyone I've dealt with so far, Henry, and I mean, I could go on and on. It's just a great organization. I highly recommend anybody else that's in the industry that have you not looked up BIOP, please take a look at it. Right now, we are taking submissions for proposals. If you have a good idea you want to submit for the conference, come let us know. But yes, I'm very proud to be an advocate. Very proud.
Awesome. So I love that people in the LinkedIn are really spreading some love for BIOP. Shout out to the
Mhm.
community. It's so important. Yes, so important. Thank you both for sharing this great conversation with us. Absolutely. Um, the best conversations happen at the right time. Yes to BIOP. Come on with the come on BIOP. I wish I could. I know I sounded extremely white saying that. I wish I wish I could stay longer and open to connecting with more people in the IO community. Representation is important. Representation is important, as Rochelle said. Portia's ambition is so admirable. So representation is really important. And
Mhm.
there was something that you said that hinted to this, I think, and I want to make sure I'm not reading too much into it or
Okay.
misunderstanding. But being in the room as a Black woman at SIOP generally, and
Mhm.
then at BIOP, being able to be in that room. Um,
Mhm.
are there one of these things happening or both simultaneously, where suddenly you don't feel like you are a black woman first, like that the weight of that isn't on you, that you don't like that you can just be Portia, but
Yeah.
also that but also on the flip side that you can own your blackness and own that
Mhm.
experience, that community at the same time, so it's more
Mhm.
freeing to be in your identity but not be defined by your identity. Am I reading too much into this? Are both of those things happening?
So
What is it for you?
for me personally,
Yeah.
um, I am at a point in my life where I am all inclusive me. I am a Black female professional, IO psychologist, mom, wife. I'm all of the things all of the time. So no
Hmm.
matter the space I'm in, no matter the environment, I am showing up fully, authentically me. How you decide to deal with me, right? Uh,
Deal with you.
will decide how we engage with each
Yeah.
other. But I'm no longer dipping in and out between the spaces. That I've just grown too much and learned too much and therapy too much to continue doing that. And I don't feel like I should. So whether I'm walking into PSYOP's conference or BIOP's party or MAIOP's, because I'm, on the board with MAIOP as well. And it really doesn't matter the space.
Michigan IO psychology.
Yep, that's the Michigan chapter of SIOP. And yeah, I so that's just me personally. I can and have endured me having to kind of, or in your words, feeling like, oh, okay, I can actually just be Portia first and not this African American woman who happens to be Portia. But today I am showing up exactly wholeheartedly Portia.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so whatever room you're in, you are you, and it might be received differently depending on the
Hmm.
room. But
Absolutely.
that's not your onus.
Yeah. See,
That's
then it
yeah,
becomes a you problem and not a
right,
me problem. Yeah,
right.
I'm learning that. Shout out to my therapist because I have learned that it's not my responsibility to navigate and process someone else's feelings.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's my responsibility to navigate and process my own. So if I'm showing up exactly who I am, I'm doing the work for myself, I'm being authentically me. However, you decide to receive that, that becomes a you problem.
Love it. And I
Yes.
love how good PSYOP has become in fostering these different communities. I mean,
Mhm.
there's BIOP. Is the other one LIOP for Latino
Oh, I
something?
did. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
I have seen that. Yeah.
When I was at Denver, I went straight from helping the Jewish group
Hmm.
have a prayer service. Somebody called me and we need a 10th person for the prayer service. I'm like, oh man, well my mom will
Okay.
be really proud. I went straight from that to going to BIOP and and seeing those different communities. I think
Hmm.
there is something really powerful
Yeah,
about that. So
great.
how important is it for people, that are in their communities, in their professional communities, to find these sort of, uh, I don't know what you would call them, resource groups? I don't know, but like,
Yeah,
but
resource group is a great term. I
yeah.
agree. I think it's very important, especially I'm just a big believer of community,
Hmm.
period. And I think it's important because it's so cliche, but it really is the truth. Two heads are better than one. I am very much, I like to know the whole story and I like to know all sides of a situation. And I understand that I'm biased about my thoughts and my opinions. And so if I really want to get the truth of an issue or a topic, I have to bring somebody else in. It can't just be my own thoughts, right? It's not giving me a well-rounded mindset of anything, right? Oh, it's just, in my opinion, my humble opinion. So I do believe in the power of community, because you just don't know where someone else's perspective is and how they can shift yours and help you and grow you. I'm very much a learner of any situation, or I try to be anyway, of any situation that I'm in, and learner of people.
Mhm.
And so I had a mindset of what I thought I would do when when I went to SIOP last year. And then I met you. And my entire,
Everything. That's
I, but like, I basically like threw out my entire notebook and started over, because you were like, no, you should really do this. And and you remember I was taking notes, and I had a notebook full of other people's perspectives. And it changed my trajectory of how I wanted to move when I left. And that's just, where would I have been if I didn't listen, if I didn't talk, have conversations, engage in other people's perspectives? So community is so vital, in my opinion.
yeah,
I think anybody coming into this industry, or you just finding yourself at any stage, it doesn't have to be a brand new, fresh start you're making, but in any stage, even someone's season, like, I have people coming into the real estate industry brand new. So they have a new lens, right? I see the same stuff for 15 years. I
right.
have a very older lens, but you never know what somebody else's perspective can do to change and evolve and grow
Yeah,
what you're doing. So I think it's very important to welcome that.
that
Don't
is
shy away from it.
that is so valuable.
Yeah.
We got to get deeper into that, specifically having new voices, that new perspective. I remember we were working with a client with my class at UMD. We were working with a class client, external client, and we were at this meeting with a bunch of their senior leaders, the client senior leaders.
Mhm.
And one of my students, who was sort of like a straight from undergrad student, asked this question that was so simple and so whatever. And I remember like everybody just stopped, like, huh, we never thought about that. Like,
Mhm.
I think it was like it was a big organization and they had a lot of different brands within their organization. And every time
Mhm.
you switched from one brand to another, you switched to a different email address. And this person said, wait, people have different email addresses depending on which brand they're working on, so they have to change everything. And the senior executives, like in the room, were all like, huh, we never thought about that. And we're working with them to figure out how to collaborate better. And so it's like sometimes that newer voice
Mhm.
is exactly what you need, that newer set of eyes. I also don't want to skip over the fact that we were sitting there. I don't know, maybe it was past my bedtime, so it was definitely past 8 p.m.
Yes.
But it was late at night. People went there to party. It was the BIOP party, and then it poured into
Yes.
all these other parties, and and
Yes.
and you were sitting there like a total nerd with a notebook, with a notebook. And when
Was.
I talk about how strategic you are, it was like the passion that you bring comes right through the screen. I don't think I have to explain that to anybody who's viewing this, but the strategy of having somebody that has that level of passion that also is sitting there with a notebook and
Yeah.
taking notes. And you told me in the past, going through those notes,
Mhm.
for and really trying to digest everything for a while afterwards. I think that is so powerful and something that a lot of people don't do. They go in with this general idea of what they want, and then they don't do that. But I want to move on to the next topic with you. But
Okay.
first, I want to tell you what people are saying in the chat.
Okay.
Um, um, Love that you were able to have psychological safety and new connections at the conference. Girl, no longer dipping in and out. That part. I think some people are just writing these things because they want me to reread them.
I do.
Uh,
I'm really enjoying you saying them. Please continue.
Absolutely 100. Only bringing our whole selves at all times. That's so freeing. You better talk your talk, Portia. I just love
Oh,
her. And so, okay, I really feel like people are just testing me. I'll read whatever they put in here, I
I
promise.
appreciate
So,
it. Keep it
okay,
coming.
so but I want to move on to something that's also really important here, which is what you do now. So you started as a practitioner, in industry, in real
Yes.
estate, and
Yes.
and so you had that experience. You brought that to IO psychology, and then you got all the theory and the frameworks and the research and things like that. What does it mean to sort of bridge that gap? How do you talk to people about IO psychology, the people that need it? How do you bring it to the Portia who's still working in real estate, who
Mhm.
sees all of her early employees saying this, it's toxic here, it's not you, it's leadership? How do you take what you've learned and bring that and communicate that to leadership, um in that other world's Portia's organization?
That's a great question. Um, Learning about how important data was during my degree
Hmm.
helped me to understand and what numbers truly represented to the higher ups, right? It's it's great as an owner, you say the things you're supposed to say, right? Not the good owners, of course, but the other owners. You say what you know an employee wants to hear, right?
Right.
We care about you. We're a family here.
Yeah.
All of these things, right? But this is a business. Okay. So let's just be honest about it. This is a business. Both can be true. You can appreciate an employee, but you appreciate more what that employee is doing for your business, right? Now, finding that balance is something that I'm trying to do in organizations. But let's just address the truth of the matter, because I do think that one thing employees like myself don't don't, don't play in my face. Okay. Don't play in my face and tell me we are family and then something real happens in my real life and you say, well, that's not my problem, or you still need to show up even though I'm having this catastrophe in my personal life, right? So to me, that's you playing in my face now. So if we're going to be honest, let's just be honest and deal with whatever the truth is. um, and so that's something that I needed to figure out how to convey to ownership in a way that they understood in the language. And that's really what I gained a lot from during with my degree. And so now, how did I implement at my level things, strategies to help convey those conversations? I can create surveys. I don't have to wait for HR to do it once a year. I can do state interviews with my staff. I can implement lunch and learns to help, with development or mentoring upcoming brand new, entry level staff. Those are things that I have capacity to control, that I can implement these tools that I've learned to help create a better culture at my level. I can bring the data from these interviews, the data from the lunch and learns, surveys, feedbacks, 360 surveys, all these data, and then I can submit that to ownership, or when I'm in these leadership meetings, or if I create a space. Hey, let me talk to you about this idea I have. This is the feedback I'm getting from the ground up. What do you think about incorporating this? But I now have the data to back it. So it's not just, oh, Portia, this is your one biased perspective. Like, no,
Right.
no, this is your entire staff saying these things. Um, and so those are just tangible, smaller things that I have already incorporated, and in my way of trying to bridge that gap and that disconnect. And then don't be, the other thing is I'm not someone that shies away from a tough topic and a tough issue. Um,
Mhm.
I am not one that shies away from conflicts. That's just not my personality. Let's talk about it. Let's dig into it, because I can't solve anything I can't talk about.
Right.
You can't.
Right.
Um, you just can't. You can't deal with it. You can't navigate it. You can't address it if you don't want to address it. So let's address it. Let's deal with it.
Right.
And let's come up together and work a solution that hopefully that works well for everybody. But those are some things that I think that someone can do, that I did anyway. And of course I have goals and things that I have in place that I'm striving towards to do more. I also started doing workshops.
Nice.
So yeah, so I'm working with actually institutions. So UDM Law School here in Detroit.
Great.
I'll be doing facilitating a leadership workshop with them on how to better engage students during finals week and incorporating emotional intelligence tools to help lower the stress of students and acknowledging the stressors of faculty as well. So that's another avenue I've begun doing. When I talk to you about it, it feels like I do a lot. Okay.
Because you do. So wait, but you are doing a lot, and with a big chunk of my work surrounding things like burnout and passion decline and things like that,
Yes.
I can't hear that without asking how, right? Because you're still a wife, you're still a mom to two kids. How old are your kids?
5 and 10.
Wow, that's not 5 years. I've got a 5-year-old. That's not an easy age. It's a great age, but it's not an easy age. And
Yes.
and so you've got a 5 and 10-year-old. You've got all of the things that you're doing, creating like really great content, collaborating with so many different people and so many different organizations and so many different associations and things like that. Um, how do you not burn out? Or am I just assuming you don't burn out and you you really are on the brink
So,
of burnout?
well,
I
the
mean, that's
truth,
fair too. Yeah.
the secret sauce is, and I'll whisper it so you can hear me. I don't sleep, David. Never sleep. Okay. I'm always looking for moments to close my eyes for longer than a couple of minutes. But truthfully, in addition to that, that's the truth. But in addition to that, I have an amazing husband. Keith, hi, Davey, if you're listening. Um, Amazing husband, and he just lifts me up and supports me with the kids. And so I do try my best to balance these things, but I'm not always great at it, if I'm being honest. And when I do have my eyes set on certain goals, I do go very tunnel vision. I'm focused, and that's kind of where I'm at right now with this industry. And I want to get a good foundation. That's what I'm working on.
Yeah.
I want to
You
get a
know,
really solid foundation going on.
and I love your honesty because it actually brings us full circle. Juliet Aiken
Hmm.
once had said to me, and I'm going to butcher the quote or maybe even misquote her slightly, and I apologize if I do. But she used to say that when you're juggling enough things in the air, you're bound to drop something every once in a while, and so you just have to be okay with that. If you're going to be juggling those things, and then pick it back up and recover. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, when there's so many different moving parts. So what do you here? Let's check back in with the chat real quick, and then I've got a question for you
Okay.
following up on that. Um, uh, Nerding gets you so far, I guess, about the note taking, the
Hmm.
story of the data, a wonderful skill you bring, Portia. This is from Dr. Emmy Baresi. um, uh, Amen to supporting spouses.
Hmm.
That's huge too. I know that's been huge in my life. I joke that when I went back and got my master's degree, I forgot the name of all of my kids. Like I had to relearn their names by the by the time it was over. So absolutely, thank God for supportive spouses. Thank you, Rachel.
Listen.
But but Okay, so we are getting toward the end of this hour. Somehow, it's insane that we're
I
already
know.
here. But if you're in the chat and you have a question for Portia, put it in now so that we could do that. Ask your questions. In the meantime, so you've got all these things. So you came to SIOP wearing your own gear,
I
right? So if
did.
you want to pitch that for a second, what is that about?
Yes, I did. So I started a company called Lady P Productions when I was in college. And it stemmed from my love of personalizing gifts and thought pieces to my family and friends. And I worked really hard on it, probably harder than I should have, but I really wanted to capture when I would give gifts, I wanted to capture what I felt was going on with that person at that time. So that took a little bit of, a little thought, like you said, a little strategy. And from there, that kind of passion just grew. And I began doing custom t shirts. And during COVID, I was pregnant with my youngest and I was high risk. And so I wasn't working. Well, nobody was by March, but
Okay.
we found out we were pregnant in January.
Wow.
And so I was at home and, playing around. Customization has always been a passion of mine. But I really started getting flooded with ideas and really what I thought was some really good pieces, really good graphics that I was creating. And I said, okay, well, let me just put it out there here and see if somebody likes it. And let me just try this one. And it kind of took off. And so now I do customization of apparel, custom personalized gifts. I have some clients like realtors that hire me to do their like welcome home gifts and things like that for their clients. So of course, when I went to SIOP last year, I'm online and I'm looking on Etsy, I'm looking on Google real fast, and I'm like, I need some shirts, right? I need some Perry. And nothing. I didn't find anything I liked. It was slim pickings. And I said, girl, you tripping. Make your own. So I did that. And I did a couple of designs. I think I did three. I was there just 3 days. I did one for each day. And I was just so humbled and blown away at the response that I got during the conference. I had forgotten I was wearing it, right? Because once I'm in there, I'm looking, I'm learning, I'm all these sessions. I don't know what I got on. I'm trying to comprehend this man here talking to me. And I got stopped so much. I got orders, David. I got orders that I had to create a platform for the orders because that was not my intention whatsoever. I just wanted to I was excited. I was nerdy. I wanted to show like, hey guys, I'm like you. I'm IO here. And so that was very inspiring. That was very warming to my heart to see that people were like, we need more of this. We need this. Let's rep our industry, the thing that we
Yeah.
love. Let's show it. So I'm actually working on some right now,
Nice.
and hopefully I can. Even if nobody sees it, I do a shirt for everything. You can ask my family and friends. I do family vacation shirts. I do birthday shirts. You gonna get a shirt, okay?
Awesome. So wait, can we find this on your website
um, yeah, you
or
sure can.
your
Yeah,
LinkedIn
you
or?
sure will be able to. You sure will
Okay.
be able to do that. That's what you're
Okay.
gonna do.
Cool.
Yep.
So you're doing that. You're
Yes.
doing you're doing a ton of content creation. I saw
Yeah.
somebody on LinkedIn earlier talked about how much they learned from you from just your LinkedIn posts. You've got your tip articles. You've got you know I never heard of the Michigan SIOP MIOP or whatever, right?
Maya. Yes. Yeah.
MAIOP. And
Mhm.
like never heard of that until you started posting a ton about that. You went in
Mhm.
there and started taking over the place and talking
Oh
all
no,
about it. So
nothing
those are
over
my
it.
words, not yours. And then BIOP working on the upcoming conference and all of these things. Now there are
Yes.
so many people who are career changers or just looking to gain a voice or find their voice in their career or their industry. People that are new to their career or industry or been there for a while. Um, what is the one thing? What if they're like, I love everything you do, Portia, but I also love getting my 8 to 10 hours of sleep.
Mm,
And so I can't do all of it. But what is like one thing that you would recommend that somebody do?
show up. Show up and engage. That has been the biggest tool at my disposal. I believe I am a very intelligent, charismatic young lady. I can do a lot, but I don't know everything. And so if I can show up in the space and be willing to learn, then, I've already won,
Hmm.
right? I've already won. So that's the only thing I've done. That in my drive, but you know
Yeah,
what's the phrase, the game is free but the drive is so separate, or something like that.
I
So
don't know. I love that. Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
teach that, but I can say showing up, and that's what you told me, David. Um, that's what I did. You were like, listen, be there, be present, and get involved. Don't be afraid to get involved. Don't be
Yeah.
afraid to go to a complete stranger. I know it can be scary. I know it can be unsettling. What are you going to say? Are you going to fake this conversation or anything like that? But just be truthful. I walk up to strangers all the time like a crazy person, and I'm like, hey, David, my name is Portia. Teach me all your ways.
Yeah,
And you're
yeah.
either going to say, go away from me, crazy, or you're going to sit down and say, okay, let's talk. Right. So,
Okay,
what?
here's the problem. You bring so much that it's like we've only got a few more minutes, and my mind's blowing up because you're saying so many things of value here, and we've got questions in the chat. But I just want to ask you this real quick, or point to this real quick. That it's something that I hear you saying that I think is something that so many people misunderstand, and I know that I struggled with this for a while. It's that I need to position myself as the teacher, and therefore I need to move on from my role as the learner,
Mm,
or that those two things are separate when in reality they are very much the same.
they're the same.
You learn, like when you teach, that is how you learn. When you learn, that is how you teach. And I think that you live that. You have this humility to you where you are not concerned about going and saying, teach me everything, or just being an open book or taking notes like a dork. But like, you are not concerned about any of that.
No.
You are like, I am a learner, but you're also showing up and teaching through your articles, through your mentorship, through your leadership roles, and you're doing them all of that at the exact same time. And I think there's something so beautifully refreshing about that. And I think for me, that's such a takeaway from not just this conversation, but about from Portia Barnes, like the person that you show up as. I think it's so powerful, and almost, like it's something that just doesn't click for people, but you live it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and so um, a couple quick questions. Somebody said, because Portia is the best. You're gonna have to go back and see all these comments. What are ways that we could support your work? We're gonna get to that. That's Naila
Okay.
said that. So all right, so we're gonna get to that, Naila. Taylor said, how does your facilitation background support your work today?
So my facilitation background is it's transitioning in the industry that in real estate and property management, right? But because I am not limiting myself to that one industry, I am able to get speaking engagements to do facilitation work for clients, which is why I began my workplace reset consulting group, so that I can have an avenue to do that, as much as I would like. But in house, I believe that if you have any type of real, like if you have staff, if you have employees under you, you can do a lunch and learn. You can facilitate a make your Monday meeting into something other than, okay, guys, let's check this list off of blah blah blah, right? And create a more dynamic experience. Change it up. Do an interactive activity during your Monday meeting or something like that, right? So get your staff more engaged in different creative ways. And that can help you utilize your facilitation skills. That can help you grow them, and then get feedback. And again, put yourself out there. Go on David's podcast and tell people, hey, hire me to facilitate your next workshop. Portia Barnes. And Workplace Reset Consulting Group. I do workshops. I do. Oh, look at you,
There you
David.
go,
Putting that
right? Natural transition. Now, if you're as old as me, you might not know what this is. That's a QR code. So if you hold up your phone above Portia's head, you that will send you to her website
down
where you could
right
do
there.
things like that. Right? Yeah, I know that's so confusing. Um, that'll send you to her website where you can learn so much more about her because the depth that this individual brings is so much more. It's deeper, more nuanced, but also just like there's so much that Portia has going on that there's no way we can touch on in just 60 minutes, especially with me as the interviewer where I talk too much. But there's
Oh
there's
no.
no way we could get to all of it. So please visit her website. And if we're not connected yet, here's my self-promotional thing right there.
You got it.
That's my QR code. You can find out everything that's happening in my life as well. Would love to connect going forward. But this really has been like so it's been a long time coming, but also a
Yes.
very short time. It is insane to think that you
Yes.
have been full-fledged in this industry for less than a year and you are making waves. It's pretty cool. Like when you look around this small community that is IO psychology, and you can tell the people that are taking things over, and you are one of those people who is having this incredible impact in just a year's time, and I think that we are all so lucky, to be in an industry where people like you are making staking their claim and constantly giving back to the community, and I think it's absolutely awesome. And so this is obviously not our last conversation, but hopefully we'll also find other opportunities to have the conversation with all of us again, because there's so much more I want to get to.
Agreed. David, thank you so much. I appreciate you. You won't even know. I've told you this, so I'm really big on giving flowers, and I will, every chance I get, I will give you your flowers. You changed my life. So thank you so much.
It's so
You
nice
are
and not
my,
true, but I
yeah,
really
it's so
appreciate
true.
it.
Listen, one day you're gonna get to see my husband, and he's gonna be like, "Oh, this is David," and I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "Because I talk about you often,
That's
and
awesome.
I follow you." Listen, David is a beast. Okay, if you do not follow him, follow him. I love what you're doing. I stalk you all the time, and you are my official mentor, and
Well,
so
thank
thank
you. I
you.
get very uncomfortable with compliments, so now we've got to go. But that's
Okay, okay.
well, thank
It
you,
was a
Portia,
pleasure.
for being here, and also for those very kind words. And thank you, all of you, in the chat, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and all of you who watch this after the recording,
Yes.
after the live post. Thank you for being so involved in